I think the lowest point for me was the sinus surgery. Was right before the sinus surgery actually, because I was like, no, I'm actually like done so much damage to myself that I'm now injured. So I used to think that my voice was my identity until I lost it. Here today to talk about vocal injury, what it can do to someone, what it did to me, and now why it's part of my life's mission and purpose to help others, and to say it's not shameful to talk about, that we can talk about what happens to us, what happens to our identity, and then what we can do to work forward and to be able to actually have vocal health and to be able to perform healthy for the rest of our lives. You know, before my injury, when I was a kid growing up, I was massively teased. I was a little bit overweight, kind of a lot of overweight actually as a kid, and singing was the only thing that I knew I was good at that I didn't get teased for, right? So it became a big identity for me, and it became really important to me that I did it well. Because if that's the one thing I'm really good at, besides like, you know, I don't know, an English paper, then I needed to have identity in it, and I needed to do it perfectly. And I started putting all this pressure on myself that it really caused problems. But until then, it gave me a lot of confidence until it didn't. About 15 years ago, I went through a vocal injury, had a series of events that led up to that, including where I was just really confused about my vocal technique, having allergy problems, stress from graduate programs, things like that, where I was not taking care of my voice and body because I really didn't know how, okay? And something that used to be a natural technique for me, used to be a natural voice, became where I didn't feel confident to open my mouth anymore. And my identity as a singer, well, that became a problem, which also became a problem with my own self-worth. And I'm here to tell you, if you've been on this journey, you're not alone, and we're here for you. When I was younger in high school, I just had a natural voice. I could sing almost anything, and I was very confident in it, and I never doubted my voice. You know, I got told to go into music and to go into classical music specifically because that's how my voice was trending. I was told that I'd wear beautiful dresses and people would clap for me and I would travel, and coming from a small town, I was like, sign me up, I'm there, let's do it. And you know what, a lot of that's actually been true. I didn't understand the expectations and the realities of it until later, but the travel, dresses, and clapping was very true. Beginning in undergrad, I started having a vocal decline. I worked a lot on technique, but I didn't know how to apply it. It became so difficult for me, and I was so caught up in technique that my natural ability just stopped, right? And I was like, I don't even know how to open my mouth anymore. And I'm so scared, and I just want to please people, and I want to please my teacher, and I want to please myself, and I want to do a good job. But I actually regressed quite a bit in undergrad because the technique wasn't serving me and how I learned. And so that was really difficult for me. I actually had a teacher that said that that I was a great phonator, but I wasn't a great singer. And that really hurt. And I want to say I'm not a great singer or a great musician because I'm so stuck. I'm so stuck in everything that I'm doing. I'm so mentally, emotionally, physically stuck. And I can't be musical because I don't feel safe. I don't feel free. And so that kind of started a long journey for me. I can't even believe I got into grad school actually because I was really suffering at that point. When I returned to singing, I started working with a teacher that really believed in me. And that is what I needed. I needed someone nurturing, kind, considerate. And she was also the same vocal type as I was, so she was able to help me with certain things, repertoire that maybe was difficult for me in the past. And she really helped me just come back to it and say, I can do this, which I really needed at the time. So I worked really hard for a couple of years, and I sang at a high level. I believed in myself, and that was amazing. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to have a sinus surgery, to have the finances in place for that, to have the right doctors for that, and to be able to return to my graduate program, to complete it, and to have a teacher that really believed in me so I could be able to kind of restart my journey again as the singer that couldn't sing. And now I could actually phonate the way that was proper. So I was able to really grow myself back into being a musician. I sang quite a bit professionally. I actually became a vocal teacher as well. I worked privately, and I also became a professor at several colleges. And I realized I really loved teaching because I had been through it. Like, you know, some of the best coaches are the ones that have seen some stuff, been through some stuff, not the ones that just always got it. And I really felt like I could help students. And there were a lot of things that I experienced myself or seen that I could help them grow through that. So many years later, I meet Chris, and then everything changed. If you don't know, Chris is my husband. We've been married for 4 years now, almost 4 years. And when we first met, I asked him to come hear me sing for a Christmas Eve performance. It was Rejoice Greatly with strings, and at Christmas Eve, I thought he would just come and say, "That's beautiful, you're beautiful, Merry Christmas." And he did most of those things, but he added something because Chris, his background is in biomechanics and sports medicine and working with professional athletes. So he would watch me perform, and he said, "Why do you do that with your rib cage? Why do you do that with your jaw and your head?" And he didn't have the vocabulary at the time to say, you know, at the end of the phrase or the end of this long melisma, or when you're going into your upper register, or, you know, you're doing some compensations with your body. But he just said, "Why are you doing that?" And I said, "I don't know, Merry Christmas." Like, I said, actually, I have been told I do these things, but no teacher could tell me why or how to not do it, because they would just say, "Don't do that." Like, you're leaning to the side or you're pulling your head or something like that. But if I didn't do it, it wouldn't come out. And that was my body's natural reaction to do it, to be able to physically make it through these phrases and through this repertoire. So during COVID, Chris and I started working together because there was nothing else to do, and we were dating. And I said, "Look, there's things that I've always suffered with. If you can help me, then I'll believe this." Because at first I was really resistant, because I'm like, "Look, I've been through a lot of different things. You don't come from the vocal world. Like, I don't know if you understand." And within an hour of working with him, I was able to do things that I could never do and sing with such freedom and ease. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, there's a whole nother world out here. Now, I have done all the Alexander technique. I've done Feldenkrais. I've done body mapping. I've done the yoga. I've done many different modalities of things, and I'm not here to trash any of them. Just saying that I was never able to apply it in time to my lessons, right? Like, I didn't know enough about my body to bring it in my lesson, know how to physically prepare my body for my own singing, know what was going on and what compensations I was doing. I didn't understand my body in that way. And through my work with Chris and through my time with Chris, I really realized that the body is a pressure system and we can make compensations. And that explains so many different things. But it's kind of like a lot of times we put Band-Aids on those compensations, or say, "Don't do that, don't do that. You're leaning to the right, just go to the left or go to the middle." But why is the body doing that in the first place? There's a system that's trying to organize itself, and there's a reason. So we have to find out what the root cause of that is and go there, as opposed to just stand straight or don't do that. So honestly, it was really frustrating to me, as excited as I was that, you know, I was getting help. I was like, why is this random person that I just started dating helping me more in the vocal world than anyone in the vocal world has helped me? And that became our mission. That's why we created the Musical Athlete, to bring this to people, to help people learn more, to help people understand that there is a better way. It does exist in sports. It exists in sports medicine, actually training like an athlete. Instead of, you know, we have some things in the vocal world that say it's athletic, but it's not really from a professional athletic standard and perspective and training. This is what we've created, is something that we've never seen in the vocal world in this way. And it's so exciting to see it. I'm just, my privilege to share it and to grow together. I'm not perfect. I don't pretend to be perfect, but I know that it has helped me, and I've seen it help hundreds, if not thousands of singers at this point, because we're 6 years in. And my goal is to be able to take the complex biomechanical things that Chris discusses and make them more understandable for the vocal studio, for a vocal coach, and also we're singers. So thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully we can be vulnerable together. You know, I don't like sharing. I don't mind sharing that I had a vocal problem because I know it's really common. You know, we would never degrade somebody if they got injured out on the football field. They just get injured, it happens. So we can talk about it and be honest. When we have a vocal issue, doesn't mean you cannot sing. It does not mean you're a bad singer. It just means that we have to find a better way to train and a better way to assist you. So let's take shame out of the equation and add proper training and technique. And I'm so excited to share this journey with you. So please, if you're into this kind of stuff, please like, subscribe, follow along. So I'm Stephanie Kelly with Kelly Vocal Studio, and my husband Chris Kelly. We co-teach and coach for the musical athletes. So follow us on both channels, and we're happy to have you here.